And out front now, the Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby. And Admiral, it seems like there's increasing concern from U.S. officials about Putin's next steps. So today we hear from the DNI, the chief there. She said Putin is possibly going to escalate, said Putin could turn to more drastic means. We heard the CIA director, Bill Burns, say Putin is in a frame of mind where he doesn't believe he can afford to lose. Admiral, is something specific guiding these comments?
Well, what's helping us guide these comments is that we don't exactly know what Mr. Putin will do. So we obviously know that they're concentrating their forces and firepower in the Donbass, specifically the eastern part of the country. But what's not clear is, should he gain that territory, where does he go from there? Does he declare victory? Does he say that's the end? Or does he try to advance his forces further west and actually maybe even threaten Kyiv again? And that's what's concerning intelligence analysts as well as folks here at the Pentagon, is we don't have a clear picture. But he hasn't left himself a whole lot of options just from his own rhetoric. He talked yesterday at the Victory Day parade of ridding Ukraine of Nazis. Now, we both know that's a ridiculous claim in terms of who the Ukrainians are. But if that's going to be your goal, if that's your aim, that's a pretty maximalist goal. So it's not exactly clear what he has in mind, but I think that's what's giving us the concern.
So today Russia fired 3 hypersonic missiles at Odessa. They're Kinzhal-class hypersonic missile. Now, President Biden has called this a consequential weapon and said that it's almost impossible to stop it because of its speed. It can obviously evade a lot of detection methods. He says there's a reason they're using it. What is that reason? Do you see something behind this increase that we seem to be witnessing in the use of these hypersonic missiles?
We can't actually confirm that hypersonics were used against Odessa. We've seen those reports, and we're still analyzing that. That said, we know that the Russians have fired hypersonics in Ukraine before. And it's a combination of things. It could be that he's concerned about the very nimble and effective Ukrainian air defenses and trying to avoid those air defenses. But it could also very well likely be 2 other things. One, to test these systems operationally. They've tested them outside of combat, but now they're testing them in a war zone and to see how effective they actually are. And number 2, to send a strong message potentially to the West, to the United States, that I have this capability. This is a very difficult to defeat capability. And so, making it clear that he doesn't want the West more involved with Ukraine than it already is.
Okay, but as he's testing something like this to see how it works on the battlefield, it just makes me wonder, Admiral, how to put it in the context of what the Director of National Intelligence said today when she said Putin could turn to more drastic means. We're talking about hypersonic missiles here, possibly being used.
Right.
Officials, we're still hearing say there's no imminent threat of nuclear weapons. But when you talk about more drastic means, or Bill Burns says he can't afford to lose, how confident can you be that some sort of nuclear weapon is truly off the table?
Well, look, I think we're watching this very, very closely every day, Aaron. We're monitoring as best we can the nuclear posture of Russia. Now, we haven't seen anything, including today, that would lead us to believe that we need to change our strategic deterrent posture. But the escalatory rhetoric coming out of Mr. Putin and Mr. Lavrov and Mr. Peskov, other Russian officials, certainly doesn't give us any cause for comfort. He does have nuclear weapons at his disposal, tactical nuclear weapons, to be sure. And so, obviously, nobody wants to see those being used, and that's why we're watching this as closely as we can. It's also, and I think we can all agree that escalating this beyond the degree to which it's already been escalating, you've seen what's going on over there in Kyiv, is not good not only for the people of Ukraine, it's not good for Russia, it's not good for the United States, it's not good for Europe.
One final question for you, Admiral, if I may. The Secretary of the Army said today she's unsure whether the American stock of Javelin missiles could be replaced quickly in a 1-year period, right? That there's been so many given to Ukraine that it's unclear whether they could replace them even within a full year, and that replacing stock of Stingers that have been given here to the Ukrainians would take even more time because there isn't even a production line for Stinger missiles right now. Senator Blumenthal, who's on the Armed Services Committee, said recently, he put it very bluntly, the closet is bare. Do you have any worry about exhausting the U.S. stockpile, in case the U.S. should need the weapons for itself?
Obviously, we're concerned about making sure we're ready to defend the nation across a range of capabilities and systems. I won't get into what the inventories actually are, but I can tell you that with every single drawdown package that the President approves and that we source, every single one has to be accompanied by an assessment by the Pentagon, by the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and certainly by Secretary Austin to make sure that it's not going to impact our combat readiness and our ability to defend the nation. And the Stinger line, you're right, was closed. That's because we weren't buying anymore. And it's not exactly clear how much more we would need in future fights. We now are using different kinds of systems and more advanced capabilities. So it doesn't mean that we have to replace every Javelin or Stinger one for one with what we've given Ukraine. We want to make sure that it's about the capabilities. And we have very advanced capabilities as it is. So again, we're watching this very, very closely. We're not going to do anything that's going to impinge or impair our ability to defend this country.
All right, Admiral Kirby, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.